What's up everybody, Brick Sanchez here, and today I will be showing you my new completed Journey to Hogwarts KINETIC Moc. Now in my last video I've shown you the awesome turn course by GoBrick, which uses a magnetic chain underneath here and some magnets on the boats to make them move around the Black Lake. Now this system has a 1x3 baseplate footprint, but I've also added another baseplate out there to put the boathouse on as well. Now I've kind of done a similar thing for the new system, which is the curve system and has a 2x3 footprint here and uses two magnetic chains which go around in opposite direction. Now these ones are usually used for cars in cities and stuff, but as you can see I've used it out here for the Hogwarts Carriages as well as for some magical creatures which you can see in the back, which follow a smaller path in the inner circle there. Now next to the magnetic base itself I've also created a custom base for the Hogsmeade Station and Hogwarts Express. So now the total footprint of this Moc is 3x4 base plates. Now besides the magnetic track I've also tried to incorporate some custom movements in here, so we got the Cornish Pixies out there moving up and down, as well as the Dementors flying around the tree. Now besides all of the movement, I also really wanted to incorporate a lot of lights in here, so I've once again used the awesome DIY lights by Game of Bricks to get everything lit. Now I also have been getting a lot of questions from you guys on my Instagram page and YouTube, where I've shared a lot of reels on the process of this Moc, as well as some final shots of it as well, if this entire Moc will be integrated in my current LEGO Hogwarts custom Moc layout. At the moment that layout is a bit too small to integrate all of this in there as well, and we also have the gate, which is normally placed on the back side of Hogwarts, but for the sake of this Moc I've just added it in here right next to the boathouse, which doesn't really make a lot of sense, but anyway. So I will be changing my LEGO city room. I will swap it with my current LEGO studio, as there will be more room there, and I want to compress my city a bit, and I want to make a lot more room to make the complete Hogwarts castle. So those are some big plans that we have been working on for many months now. Now I still have to wait for a couple of things to get a green lit before we can actually do that. But I've actually made this Moc as a bit of a practice run to see the level of architecture and the level of detail I want to try to put into my new layout. Because as you might have noticed, the trees in here are a lot different. They're a new design which I've created. I started by creating them for the smaller Hogwarts Carriage Moc that I've made quite some time ago. And so I've kind of scaled them up into 3 different sizes. We got the smallest on the left, the medium-sized tree, and then we got a big tree out there as well. So I really want to get those trees in my new Forbidden Forest in combination with some other little type of trees that we have out there as well. Architecture-wise, I've also tried a bunch of more detailed techniques for this Hogwarts Gate wall that we have out there, and that is the type of detail that I want to try to put into my entire castle, so that will take a long time to do so, but I am much more pleased with that, as the other castle that I currently have mostly consists of a lot of tan and sometimes a few light nougat or medium nougat pieces in there as well, while this one has a bunch of, deteriorated rockwork in it and stuff. So that is the type of level I want to go for, but we'll see how that ends up in the future. And then another very important part was of course the water that we have here, the magnetic track for that, as well as the magnetic track for the road, and especially the tiles on the road. I have tried a new system to get all of those circular tiles out there, but I did have to check out if it would actually work, because I plan on integrating and expanding on these magnetic tracks in my new layout to have a really epic display going on, with the front, at the front of the display having all of the water and the boats out there, and in the back having the Hogwarts Carriages go a very long route from the station all the way up until Hogwarts Castle. And then we're also gonna have the train running around, hopefully all the way from the city, from King's Cross Station underneath Hogwarts to this side to Hogsmeade Station and then back around again. So that would be epic to have all of these 3 modes of transportation moving at the same time. But so for now I really had to test out if we could get the carriages running on this wonky road there, as well as the the boats on the water here as well. Anyway, we'll get into the details of everything in this Moc, but let's start off with the first mode of transportation to get to this place, which will be the Hogwarts Express and Hogsmeade Station. Alright, so now we've reached Hogsmeade Station, which is the first location that the students get to see when they arrive here on the Hogwarts Express. Now as you can see, I've used the official set here that we got somewhere in 2023, which is a very lovely set, and I do really like the way it looks out here, and I didn't want to spend too much time creating a custom one, as I will be doing that to scale in my new layout as well. When I first started creating this new system here, I didn't even think of adding this entire Hogsmeade Station and stuff out here, but then I really thought about maybe combining the entire Moc with the Black Lake, so I needed an extra base plate of space, so I thought maybe I can also put the Hogsmeade Station in there as well. So that's why I went for this here, and I also went for the regular set here. And at first I also wanted to add the train that comes with this station, as it is also fully lit, but even with this curved track out here I couldn't fit the entire train on here. So at the moment I've just used this one, as I had this locomotive left over from the 2019 one, as I have 2 of those, and I've used the other carriages that came with this one for my long Hogwarts train, which is a Hogwarts Express train, which is now currently driving around my Lego city. Now this set is also lit up using an official Game of Bricks light kit, and for this train out here I've just used 2 bit lights which are run underneath the train and come together on a connector board in the back out there, where I have all of the lights, also the lights from this lantern out here going to. And then for the rest of the station, I took some inspiration from Hogwarts Legacy, so I started the game and went looking around Hogwarts Station there, which is really great, by the way. If you're looking to make a mock of Hogwarts Station or anything Hogwarts related, you can always go check it out. I've also done the same thing for the roads and for all of, you know, the decoration on the sides and stuff. So I just saw the platform here and I saw those red benches, so I tried to make one myself. Even though I've added this curved element to it, I really love that, so I kept that. It's not how they are normally in the game. They are normally just straight benches with some straight planks on it, but I really like that little rounded element out there. For the rest, I also really got inspired by this wrought iron gate, which is also seen in the game with a little Hogsmeade plaque underneath there, and so I decided to challenge myself and try to build that, as I've seen many other builders make some really epic wrought iron stuff, and I'm very satisfied with how it turned out. I got the little Hogsmeade plaque out there. I believe that is from the Shrieking Shack, or maybe the old station from back in 2004, I believe. And I've used a lot of black parts like those little whip pieces and stuff to recreate the wrought iron gate. Now when the students leave Hogsmeade Station, the first years will have to go to the boats, while the rest of the students will have to take the carriages. As you can see out here, this stairway leads to the carriages, while this other little pathway out here leads to the little dock for them to hop onto the boats. Now I did have to relocate this little dock here from my previous video to line it up a lot better with this path here, because the previous location was a bit too close to the railroad. Now for the rest, this Black Lake mock has remained the same, so if you want to check out the magnetic system and how I've lit up these boats, be sure to check out my previous video where I explain everything in detail. Alright, now the rest of the students have to take the carriages, and as you can see I've added 3 in this layout, and I've also added some lights to them, so let's take a look how I did that. Alright, so let me take one of these carriages out here. As you can see, this is the one with Harry, Luna, Ron and Neville in it. So somebody asked me why I didn't have Hermione in here, but I really wanted to include Neville with his Mimbulus Nimbletonia type of cactus plant, which I still haven't given him. So anyways, as you can see, this is almost exactly the set, the regular set where the Testral carriage, where the Testral appears in, even though I did make some modifications to the attachment here, so we could have the wings out there as well. It's a bit longer. Normally this piece is added on there or something. I'm not sure how it is normally, and up front here I also had to change something to fit the battery box. But as you can see, underneath here we have one magnet for the Testral, and we have another little trans 2x2 round brick with one of these thick magnets out here. And as you can see, it moves a bit just so you don't have to have the exact distance. But so yeah, anyway, the distance between these 2 magnets is the same distance as we have on the links on the chain here underneath this entire base plate, so they will always stay the same distance and they can follow the magnets around, because I really had to experiment a lot with that. Now underneath here I've asked GoBrick if they can maybe make a specific magnet for animals, because they usually have the same distance. I think it's 5 bricks across, distance from one leg to the other, just to have it a bit more secured, because right now, as you can see, it's only attached with one stud, even though it holds up, and it has been holding up for a long time here. I have tried this out for many, probably many hours up until now already. But so anyway, it would be a bit more sturdy and a bit handier to get it like properly aligned with the magnetic, with the chain underneath there as well. Now I also got a lot of questions why I didn't use an invisible Testral, so why I didn't have like only this little piece out here floating around somewhere. Now as you can see, the 2x2 round brick out here works pretty well, but I think if you have it up front out here, it would be so visible that it would kind of take away like the magic feeling that we have right now, in my opinion, when you see these walking around. So you can just imagine them not being able to see the Testrals, but I really do like them, and I actually also have a bunch of them, so I really want to use them actually. So but yeah, anyway, that's why I decided to go for a Testral. Perhaps in the future layout I will make one without a Testral, but then I would have to reconfigure the chain underneath there, because as you can see, then the magnet would be probably like one link moved closer to the other magnet. But yeah, so that's how the magnets work out here. And then for the lights, we have 2 lights up front out here. So the only lights, you know, it's just those little 1x1 trans yellow round plates that we have in the set here. I have used 2 bit lights by Game of Bricks, as you can see underneath here. It is connected to a little connection board. Let me see if I can take this one off just to show you guys. Underneath there I just used 2 of these just to clean it up a bit, so we wouldn't have any wires hanging underneath the carriage here. I think it works pretty nicely. I did drop a wand. I think that's wrong. Bronze wand, no problem. But so anyways, I have those connected to a little battery box, the same one that I've been using for these little boats here. So let me just show you how that works. So to turn the battery pack on and off, it's very easy. We have this little door out here, and it was just the perfect distance here, just so we could have the little on-off button out there, and then I can just turn it off or on very easily. A lot more easy than with the boats, because with the boats I had to use my little clipper for it. And then the battery box itself, let me remove this bench here. So it was pretty easy to install. It was actually very easy. The battery box itself is about 3 bricks. It's a little bit smaller, but about 3 bricks across here. So I could just put it in there. Can easily take it out here. As you can see, I just had to remove this middle, or this section that was underneath this bench here, and then I could just fold it in like this. Very easily like that. Now, one other thing that I did have to change was this part here. It used like a little plate with like 2 inverted slopes on each side, so I just replaced those with some regular inverted slopes out here, and it doesn't really matter. It kind of has the same look. I'm pretty sure not a lot of people would have guessed that if they didn't know about it. So, and then you can just turn this on here, put this on here, because the battery box itself is also, I think, about 2.5 plates thick, so or maybe even 2 plates thick. So there's still a lot of space, and because it is black, it is you cannot almost not see it, just like the boats. Only when you get very close to it, but especially in the dark, where it matters the most with these lights, you cannot really see the back. So yeah, that was the simple way how I lit up this little carriage out here. So very handy, we got very lucky with the space available in here. But so yeah, another challenge that I had with this carriage here, and to get it running, was to make sure that the little testral didn't tip over. So as you can see, this has a lot of friction, because the carriage out here has some wheels, which kind of helps. But so as you can see, this is very thin, and it only has 1 magnet here. So I really had to make sure that the road was smooth enough for it to go across, and it took me a pretty long time to get the perfect distance between the two. So in the corners and stuff, or in the turns, it wouldn't fall over, because at the beginning, a lot of times when it was turning, it used to fall over. So that's why it would be nice to get like a smooth 5 wide little magnet base for this one, as GoBrick has some specific plates for bikes and etc. So that would be nice. But so yeah, there was a lot of testing out here, especially with that road. What I did was I placed it on a magnet. I kind of tiled it off also to get the distance for the border, right? So it would never like hit the border and stuff. I just put it on the chain. I tiled a little bit. I made it go further. If I had the space, I just placed like these little wedges out there and stuff. And then I repeated that entire process for the entire circle there. So pretty time consuming. But anyways, we got it now, and I think it's running pretty well now. It hasn't fallen over in a very long time. But anyway, let's put this bad boy back in its position, and then I will show you the road here and also the middle section, just to show you the difference between those two. Alright, so I've removed a couple of trees so we could have a better look at this road here. And as you can see, it mostly consists of 1x1, 2x2 and 3x3 round tiles, as well as a couple of just regular plates out here. And we got some cat hair, of course. Some regular rounded plates as well for these like little flower pieces, and then some ingots and some corner tiles, as well as some like these tic-tac tiles and stuff, just to kind of mimic the gravel road that we have going on around Hogwarts, and especially in the game as well. I tried to look at that, but of course we had to have most of them smooth, so we could have this these magnets running over them smoothly. As you can see here, we have the border of the base plates. So each base plate here can be taken off. I will be showing you that in the end of the video as well. But so anyways, it was a real challenge to get some of those regular plates in there as well, just so they wouldn't hit the magnet specifically of the testral, because that would be catastrophic. It would fall over probably. But there are some places where the carriage will drive over one of those, and it will kind of bump it, like we can see out there in the corner here. But it doesn't, it's pretty cool. I think it looks pretty realistic, like in real life. Whenever it hits like a rock, you can see it out there. You can see a little bump. So that's still alright, and it hasn't derailed out there either, so I'm pretty satisfied with that. And normally this system is used for cars which will drive in the opposite direction, which will also be very epic if I can integrate that into my system. But out here I've chosen to make this street here a lot broader than the other one, just because we need to have the carriages which will go around out here. They're pretty long, and they don't turn that well, so they also have the two magnets, not like a regular car, which would probably turn around a lot quicker. And in the middle here, we made a little pathway for some other creatures. Let me just remove this. For some other creatures of the forest, like a little spider. We got a centaur, we got Bugbeak out there, even though that's the white one. And then we also have a baby Testrel. So, but yeah, you can place them wherever you want. I can also just put one out here. I believe there will... You can see him just connecting out here as well. Let me just take this one here. I can place him out here. And as you can see, the chain, voila, the chain pulls him back in. Now outside here, on the side of the road, I decided to put this little signpost there, which comes with the Hogsmeade Station, which is just perfect for here. We got Hogwarts on the left side and Hogsmeade on the right side. And it really reminds me of that scene from Prisoner of Azkaban, where we have the carriages running around here with the Double Trouble song. And then for the rest, I've also added a little bench here and just some smaller foliage out there as well. Just some stuff that I saw on Hogwarts Legacy on the side of the road. We just have a random civilian or somebody from the village, from Hogsmeade Village, who's sitting out there and he's just looking at the new students coming to the school and stuff, just to fill it up a little bit so it wouldn't feel like the same all around this road here. But now let me take you to the backside here, where we have the tunnel for the carriages, as well as a little cave where all of these creatures of the forest will pass through. Alright, so let me just remove this little tree out here so we can have a better view of the tunnel and the cave out there as well. So yeah, for this tunnel I really wanted to create some elevation here to really separate the backside from the front side, so it wouldn't look like they're just spinning circles on a flat surface. I really wanted to kind of make it look as if they were doing a much larger tour here, by kind of covering the carriages up when you look from the front side. But out here, as you can see, the tunnel, the design, I really wanted to go for like a carved out design. So it seems like there was some rock work out here and they just magically carved it out of it, so we have the rest of the rock work kind of sticking out here. And then for the little cave beside it, it was a very narrow space, so I just used some burbs in there to kind of cover that up, because this is kind of a spot where the hippogriff and the centaur tend to kind of get stuck sometimes. As you can see, they really have to they really have a very narrow space to go through, and sometimes the wing kind of gets cut up, or his bow and arrow. And then down here we have Professor Sprout, who is handling some bees and getting some honey from them, as I really wanted to add some more characters in here, some more different professors, because of course Hagrid would have been my first choice, but he's already at Hogsmeade Station and in one of the boats, so I didn't want to put too many Hagrids in here. And then next to her we have this little broken wall here, which is a bit curved out here as well, which I saw a lot of times in Hogwarts Legacy when I took the road from Hogsmeade Station to the castle. Besides the road, there were a lot of these walls, so I really tried to recreate that. It was a bit hard to get the bend in there. But I'm really satisfied with the end result. It's a bit more interesting than just having a straight wall. And now moving on with this middle section out here, we got the central hub out here, which has the motor for all of these features like the Pixies and the Dementors, as well as a battery box for that motor, as well as a battery box for the lights in here. And it is removable as well, which I will show you in a bit. But besides that, we have a little bit of rock work and a little bit of a pathway out there, which took me way too long to finish. But I really tried to up my rock work game, as I wasn't really satisfied with the rock work I have going on at the moment in my castle, and I'd really tried to get some different techniques and stuff, some sideways builds out there. But I'm pretty satisfied with the end result, and I really like the little elevation that it gives. Like there's this big rock out here with some dirt on it and stuff, so I'm pretty satisfied with how that looks like. And then now for the central hub, let me try to remove this with one hand here. But so this houses the battery box for the lights as well. Also for this light out here, as I wasn't able to pull a cable throughout all of these base plates here, because I would still need to remove or to be able to remove each base plate separately to access the links underneath there. So what we have out here is a wireless connector which connects to this little central hub out here, which I will show you when I take this out here. You can see the light going off, so I can take this out of here. Let me try to be very careful with that, because we have this entire tree dangling on top of there as well. So as you can see out here, we still have the border of this base plate here. This one and this one can still be removed separately. You also see the ones out here, this left one as well as this right one. We have these tiles going on out there, so they can each be removed separately. But so on this base plate then, you can see the wireless connector, you can see the connector board, and then the cable for this one has been pulled down underneath this pathway here and connected to that. So that's a very efficient way to get it lit up as well. Alright guys, so out here we have the central hub, which has two moving features. We got the jumping Pixies as well as the flying Dementors out here. Now this central hub also houses the battery box, the motor and the battery box for the lights as well. Now the button for the motor and the light is hidden underneath this hatch here. As you can see when I press it out here, That is how we activate it. Now this motor is from AliExpress. It is not a real Lego motor, just because it's USB rechargeable and I didn't want to go through the hassle of always changing the batteries and stuff. Now it's also, you can also adjust the speed out there, and I've already placed it at the lowest speed because in the beginning these Dementors were really flying around very fast, which was pretty funny to see, but not so realistic. So underneath here we also have a different type of battery box. It's barely visible out here. It's a round one. So we have a little button out there as well. It's pretty hard to turn on and off, but so that's a bit of a different type. It also uses 2 of those flat 3-volt little batteries, so the same amount of batteries for the little boats and the carriages as well. Now let me turn this hub around so you can have a look at the behind the scenes here. So this left side is the ugly side, which is mostly covered, or usually covered, by the cave out there. And then on the right side, this part is visible when you visit the back side of the Moc, but this is also removable out here. So as you can see, we got the battery box, this is the battery box which connects to the motor, which is kind of hidden behind this out here. But then this motor feeds into this mechanism, and that's also connected to the mechanism of the Dementors out here. So as you can see, the mechanism for these Pixies is quite simple. When I press the button, you can see these Technic lift arms, which are placed at a different angle, all moving around and moving these Pixies up and down at a different time here. So it kind of makes them appear as if they are jumping randomly around there. Then we also have the cables hooked up here. I left a bit of space out here, so you can see they're kind of free floating, just so they can give in with the mechanism. You can see them going up and down a little bit. Now of course we have to make sure that they do not get tangled up inside into the mechanism, but at the moment I've had this running for many hours, and that has never happened so far, so let's pray that it doesn't ever happen. So the Dementor mechanism is a bit special. As you can see, we got 2 gears out here, a small one and then a big one, which was also to reduce the speed of this entire thing, because it was still going pretty fast even at the lowest setting. Now this biggest gear out here also has a wheel behind it, so as you can see, these trans parts here make up a 4x4 square, which will kind of drive over, or which will like turn over this wheel here. So I will just show you what it looks like from this side when I turn the mechanism on. Now I really wanted to hide this mechanism inside of the tree, but that seemed to be pretty impossible without having the tree top itself move around, and I didn't want to do that because that looked pretty ridiculous. Now anyways, let's take a look at how the inside of this mechanism works. Alright, so when I take the tree top off out here, you can see this 2x2, which has to be placed out here, which keeps the top part of the tree in place. And then there's just this Technic axle here, which is also fixed to the top. And then we got the Dementors out here on a 4x4 round plate with a hole in it, as well as a 2x2 round tile out here, which can then freely move around this Technic axle here, while the rest of the tree stay fixed up there. And then you can remove this part out here, like so, which has this Technic rod, which if you turn it will turn the gears up top out there. And then you can see underneath here, this is what it looks like. Now this is still connected underneath there to the rest of the Technic axles, which will connect to the motor itself. Alright, now moving on with probably my favorite part of this entire build, which is the Hogwarts Gate. Now this gate is heavily based on the one you can find in the Hogwarts Legacy game, even though I did have to change some architectural details like these spires, as well as the hogs, which are now placed on the outer walls instead of the inner walls. I really like the amount of details that I was able to get inside of these walls, and I aspire to get all of my Hogwarts buildings to look like this eventually. I also really like the foliage on the side here, and this Hogwarts crest in the middle on top of the gate out there. I also tried adding in some lighting, so underneath here we have 2 lanterns right above the hogs, and you also have 4 lights in each tower, with the main light kind of representing each Hogwarts house. Now this building also has a moving feature, which is the gate that can go up when I press this button. Now the part that I've used is a special part that I've came across in one of the Bricklink stores where I ordered some parts for this Moc. And it is a kind of wind-up mechanism from back in the day, I believe in 2008, from one of those like rescue helicopters or something, which you can just wind up, and it like kind of releases a cable, and then when you press the button it gets pulled back up here. So that was a perfect mechanism which I could use for the gate out here. And some people asked me if I was gonna motorize it, but I actually kind of like this mechanism a lot more. You can always leave it down and just press on the button and then it would just go up. So a pretty cool mechanism which I will hopefully integrate in some other Mocs as well, and it only cost me 36 cents. Now the back side of the build looks a lot worse than the front side, but from here you can see the mechanism in action and how I attached it to the gate itself. Then on the right side of the gate there's a door through which Professor Sprout came to get the honey from the bees. So now that we've seen everything on top of the base plates, it's time to take a look what it looks like underneath here. So let's remove the water section as well as the central hub here. So let me be very careful, like so. And out here you can see the edges of the base plate that I'm gonna remove here. So let's take it off. So it's fairly easy. You just take it off like that. So it's pretty sturdy. As you can see on the bottom here, we got some grooves here for the chain underneath here, and then we got the Duplo type of system which it connects to. So, and then out here you can see the big gear which turns the chains around, and out here we also have a little magnetic link. So let me demonstrate how that works with this centaur here. So I can just put him on there, and as you can see it's a pretty strong magnet. So that is the same way it works, just with the base plate in between them as well. And as you can see out here, this is what the gear looks like, and you can just take it off out here easily, and it just clicks right back onto that small gear which is attached to the battery box. And when it is removed, you can see how I can move the chain around from left to right, so you can see them going around there. And we can do the same thing for the carriages, as you can see, but one just fell down out there. And this big gear can just click right back in there pretty easily as well. So yeah, that's how this system works. It's actually pretty simple if you look at it this way, but it works very well. Now to put the base plate back on, I have to press it very hard so there isn't anything sticking out for the Testrals to fall over. But yeah guys, so far my journey to Hogwarts KINETIC Moc. I do really hope you have enjoyed this video. If you have, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell and leave a comment. Let me know what you think of this build and let me know what else I should add in my future Hogwarts layout. Thanks a lot for watching and I will see you in the next one.